Look at C. Use your result in part B. Okay, use your result in part B to write the first three non-zero terms and the general term for the Taylor series for G. Is that G? And do we have the series for cos 2x? Should I just plug it in? Not clever. So show the left-hand side. So the left-hand side is cos 2x. So copy it on G. Show the work. Don't do your own thing. And cos 2x we got was 1 minus 2x squared plus 2/3 x to the power of 4 minus 4 over 45. I'm doing this from memory. x6 plus dot 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 negative 1 to the power of n, 2 to the power of n, x to the power of 2n over 2n factorial. What else should I write?
Was it 2 to the power of n or 2 to the power of 2n?
Oh, 2n. What else should I write? That's cos 2x. Thank you. Minus 1 and then all over x squared. So what will happen? The 1 vanishes. And then what do I do last step? Divide every term by x squared. So the first term will become negative x squared.
Wait,
But-
Negative 2.
Oh, negative 2x squared, sorry. Oh, negative 2. Sorry, negative 2. What will the second term become? 2/3 x squared. The next term will become minus 4 45ths to the power of 4 plus dot 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 negative 1 to the power of n, 2 to the power of 2n, x to the power of... I'll give you two options, choose wisely. There are kids in the other class who made a mistake. Is it x to the power of n or x to the power of 2n minus 2? You should subtract powers over 2n factorial. Guys, I did this only as an intellectual exercise, but because read the question. I did this only as an intellectual exercise. Read the question. Write the first three. Are we only interested in this? Is that clear? Circle that. It did not ask for... Oh, they do ask for the enter. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, to be clear, we're fine. So, another thing. Sometimes, but you know what I'm talking about. Sometimes they'll just say the first three. Even if you write that, just circle that guy, like that's what I'm interested in. Is that clear? Give me so far? Yes, go on.
Wait, so for the nth term, how are we supposed to write in the negative 1 or minus 1's happening?
What do you mean?
Because
The 1 cancel with the negative 1? Because we have cos 2x minus 1.
yeah. Well, what about the nth term? Do we just it doesn't matter or no?
What do you mean? That is the nth term. This is like plus dot 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 ad infinitum and then subtract 1. I think you're getting confused as if you're subtracting from every term. No, this is cos 2x and we subtract 1.
Oh, so the negative 1's just on the outside.
Yeah, it's on the outside. This is cos 2x, subtract 1. Okay? Alright? Okay, now we'll do D, please. D says, determine whether G has a relative minimum, relative maximum, or neither at x equals 0. Justify your answer. So what should I calculate? G dash. So G dash will become 4 over 3. We're finding G dash.
Oh.
What were you thinking?
Of the top.
Oh, okay. That's not incorrect because Mr. Masharia said that. Because I was just going to do this. Because, put your pencils down so we can have this conversation. No, you're right. Because on certain other problems, I said, oh, by the way, but what's G really? You say, oh, what G is actually that. And you deal with that. How many of you get that? No, but what's this? If I do G dash, careful. If I do G dash, I will be using quotient rule, see? You cannot use L'Hopital rule. I hope you understand that. We're finding the derivative of G. You'll use quotient rule. But then we need to do relative max. Will we deal with the double derivative? Do you understand? It's going to get complicated. So in case you're wondering, do I have G? I'm just going to deal with G dash. Okay, that's not incorrect. Just to be clear, that's not incorrect. But I was looking at it and saying, my God, that's going to blow up. So that's not incorrect. But trying to do second derivative on that, I'm just going to deal with this guy. So G dash is 4 over 3 x minus 16 over 45 x to the power of 3 Okay, plus dot dot. And therefore g dash of 0 is 0. Is that clear? Now Miss Huan asked me a question. She says, Rama, for these kind of questions, because g, oh yeah, she says, do we write the nth term? So let's write the nth term also. Because they often do. 2 to the power 2n. And then what do the nth term be? Hint, we're taking derivatives. 2n minus 2, x to the power of, careful, 2n minus 3. Very good. We're subtracting 1. All over 2n factorial. Relax, this stays the same. All of them will have an x term and collapse to 0. Yes.
So, when you said that the negative 1 is on the outside, does that apply to the g? Oh, wait, no.
So because this is g. We subtracted the one, we did all the math. Yeah, this is g. Okay. So guys, I'm making clear so there's no confusion. So far, we have a critical point. We just have a critical point. G dash is 0 or an extrema. So what should we do to derivative with max or min? The second derivative. So g double dash of x, which is, why negative?
No, it's just 4/3.
Oh, it's
It's just 4/3.
Okay, 4/3 minus 48 over 45 x squared plus dot 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 negative 1 to the power of n, 2 to the power of 2n, 2n minus 2, 2n minus 3, x to the power of 2n minus over 2n factorial, and g double dash of 0 is 4/3, which is greater than 0. Therefore, we have a relative min at x equals 0, since it says x justify your answer. G dash of 0 is, and g double dash of 0 is greater than 0. Exactly, I'll give you full points. So let's go over the general concept again. If I can deal with the original function, go for it. If you say, man, it's going to get complicated, deal with the series we have. Exactly. In earlier problems, we would deal with the original. And I look here. Okay, we went over this yesterday. I want to make sure your concepts are clear. Guys, pay close attention. What is the definition? Because kids in the other class had forgotten it. Mr. Wang answered this correctly. What is the definition of extrema, of relative extrema? Nobody speaks. I'm just checking you have basic skills correct. It says, do we have a relative extrema? Let me translate it for you so you say, oh, I see what's going on. So I'm not telling you if it's a max or min. The question just says, is it a relative extrema? So what's the definition of relative extrema? Okay, Mr. Audaz?
When f dash changes sign.
Thank you. That's the definition of relative extrema. What's the definition? We went over this yesterday. I'm going over it again. What's the definition of critical point? Nobody speaks. I'm talking about the actual definition, not what we usually end up doing. Mr. Ariano?
Is it top equals 0 or does not exist?
Exactly, or f dash. So f dash is either 0 or does not exist. To be clear, you should also consider does not exist. 99 times 100, we don't have a denominator, so we just set it equal to 0. But that's not the definition, is that clear? We just set it equal to 0 because we're dealing with polynomials for the most part, alright? Okay, let's move on. We're going to get all 9 points. Let's do another problem. It says, oh, by the way, look at the title of this document. It says, oh, there. BC practice exam. So the College Board encourages teachers, this is a privately released practice exam. College Board encourages teachers to do this just before their finals. So that's what I'm doing. So it says, let f of x be a function. You had a question just like this for homework like 10 tests ago. But I told you, keep up with your homework because questions repeat in style and difficulty. It says f dash of x equals 4x minus 2x f of x. And having a good memory, I can tell you, Marzu got this wrong. This was part A. In roughly 2003, 2004, she got it wrong. They also give you f of 0 equals 5. She felt so foolish. She said, I just wasn't paying attention. And then f of x equals 2. Is that clear? So we're doing part A. Part A says, find the value of integral 0 to infinity 4x minus 2x f of x dx. And then when I assigned that problem for homework, I said, be alive. So what would I do next time?
I replace it with f dash.
Thank you, be alive. Have they given us this as f dash? Now Mr. Arnold in the other class, write this down. Mr. Arnold in the other class said, split it up, and he did this. Write it down so you say, oh, okay, I see why he's doing that. X dx minus 2 integral x f of x dx, 0 to infinity. Isn't that the other kind of problem? Where we know this guy and that guy, kind of, correct? But put across, not for this problem, not for this problem. As Mr. Sandigo smartly observed, we kind of were given that. So it becomes a much easier problem. This is nothing but integral 0 infinity f dash of x dx. Ooh! So what should your right hand side become?
F of infinity.
F of infinity minus f of 0. Okay, now we had this discussion yesterday. I want to repeat the discussion. We did this problem yesterday. But when I'm finding f of infinity, what am I really finding? The limit. I love you people, you remember. So rewrite the question is really limit x approaching infinity. We're really finding the positive horizontal asymptote. F of x minus f of 0. Oh! And what's the limit given to be? Do you understand why we rewrote that? Because there's nothing known as f of infinity. So that's 2 minus 5 equals
-3.
how easy is that? Okay, we'll do B, please. So B says, use Euler, pay close attention to this. Use Euler's method to approximate f of -1, but starting at 0 with 2 steps. So, if you think about it, are we working backwards? So what should delta x be? -1/2. I hope you understand why. We're starting at 0 going to -1. So make a note, delta x will be -1/2. So first, what am I finding? F of -1/2 equals f of 0 plus f dash of 0 times -1/2. And what was f of 0 given to me? 5. F of 0 is going to be 5. Plus sidebar. I'm going to do sidebar for f dash of 0. Sidebar. It is 4 times 0 minus 2 times 0 times f of 0. Is that just 0? 0 times -1/2, which is 5. And it is smart to write that as a point. It is -1/2, comma 5. Okay. And then final step, f of equals f of -1/2 plus f dash of -1/2 times -1/2. And f of -1/2 we just found to be 5 plus sidebar for f dash, because there's quite a bit of algebra to be done. F dash of -1/2. 4 times -1/2 minus 2 times -1/2 times f of -1/2, which is 5. Look down. What's 4 times -1/2? -2. Ooh! What's -2 times -1/2? So that just becomes plus 5 then, which is 3. Let's plug that in. So 3 times -1/2, which is -3. Slow and steady. Don't skip steps. Absolute final answer 7/2. I'm going to correct myself. What? It's an approximate value. It's not the exact value. It says approximate. Okay. Small things matter. Okay. Part C. Okay, nobody speaks. I'll give you 10 seconds of thinking time. Okay, nobody speaks. It says, find a particular, it was only that first step you had to get right. First step. The rest of it was easy. It says, solve the differential equation dy over dx equals 4x minus 2xy. And they give you f of 0 equals 5. Go ahead and separate the variables yourselves. Ask yourself, what should you do first step that will help you separate the variables? We have discussed this. Use common sense. Kids with imaginations, what am I doing on the right hand side? First step. Pull out a 2x, Mr. San Diego. What will become inside? 2 minus y. Now can we separate the variables? So dy over 2 minus y equals 2x dx. Okay, that's easy. Okay, integrate. Careful, left hand side is really ln. Absolute value 2 minus y equals plus c. Have you observed the rubric? Just writing plus c gets you 1 point. Okay, finding the c gets you another point. Find C yourselves. They give you f of 0 equals 5. So C is negative ln 3 because ln negative 3 is absolute value. So C is negative ln 3. Plug it in. So negative ln 2 minus y equals x squared minus ln 3. Look down. You're just solving for y. Okay, careful. Next step, multiply by negative. Get rid of the negative. 2 minus y equals plus ln 3. What form am I in? I should go to we still stay absolute value equals, careful, 3 e to the power of negative x squared. Absolute value comes off. 2 minus y equals plus or minus 3 e negative x squared. Negative y equals negative 2. We have the negative 2 in front, right? Plus or minus 3 e negative x squared. Last step, y equals 2 plus or minus, we multiply by negative, 3 e to the negative x squared. Read the question. So should we choose the plus or the minus? F of 0 is 5. Plus, so y equals 2 plus 3 e negative x squared. Okay, not too bad at all. Not too bad at all. So far, could we have got all 9 points? 9 and 9. Again, guys, don't get alarmed by the FRQs. They're not difficult problems. They're not difficult problems. Okay, we actually did the other question first. Okay, we'll do this question first. Okay, copy down this piece. It's a parametric question. Copy down that piece of information and then process that information yourself. So they give you dx over dt equals 6 over t minus 3. Is that 1/3? And then dy over dt equals t e to the power of negative 2. How am I processing this information? At t equal to 3, the particle is at 5,4. X of 3 is
5.
And then y of 3 is 4. Oh, by the way, I'm very grateful you came, Ms. Dawn. Thank you. I'm genuinely curious. How many of you, I'm not trying to scold or shame, how many of you are, other than Mr. Dan, okay, just quickly, other than Mr. Dan, who else is not going to prom? Oh, you are going to prom this?
No.
You're not? Okay. Oh, we were talking about like end of year thingy, right? Activity. Okay, how many of you are not going to prom? 1, 2, 3. Okay. All right. Oh, by the way, have a look at A and B. Is that a waste of our time? Right? We've done 100 of these. Okay. Let's focus on C, please. Okay, I'm focused on C. I want to show you something. C says, is there a time at which, we've done these problems, but I want to review them. Is there a time t at which the particle is farthest to the right? So they're really and indirectly asking you to absolute max of the position function farthest to the right, or the absolute max on the right side of absolute max. In other words, if I have two values on the right, I'll choose the higher of the two. Is that clear? Yeah. So we're kind of finding the absolute max on the right side of the position function. Is that clear? So if I'm finding absolute max, I should deal with the endpoints. Have they given you formal endpoints? Ducket and critical points. So if I need the absolute max of x of t, I should deal with dx over dt or x dash of t, which is dx over dt, 6 over t minus 3 to the power of 1/3 should be 0. Everybody okay then? Okay, this is a calculator problem. But guys, a calculator is not the solution to all your problems. We can totally do this by hand. We can totally, just look at it, it's a simple equation. Do I need the 1/3? Can I just cube both sides, get rid of it? So 6 over t minus 3 equal to 0. Okay, now I'm showing you a method which is important. Now you may be tempted to, Rama, just add 3. No, I don't want to do that. Can I take LCMs? I want to show you something. I'll take LCMs. So 6 minus 3t over t equal to 0. So can I focus on the top now? So what is t then? T is 2. Okay, now observe the explanation the AP wanted. Now the challenge is, how do we know that's the at equal to your farthest to the right? Especially because they don't give us endpoints. Is that clear? That's just the critical point. So see if this concept comes back. We have talked about this. We have at least twice. We even wrote notes on this. If I want the absolute max, and I don't have endpoints, I have to prove its absolute max, I can just demonstrate that it is a very smart relative max. If I can demonstrate that's a relative max, I'm pretty much good to go. Is that clear? So observe how I'm demonstrating it's a relative max. So what's this? Can I use a number line? Okay, because it's an easy function. Keep that in mind. You can do a number line. So this is the x dash function, right? X dash function. And t equal to 2. Okay, now what's this? I'm begging you to pay close attention to what I'm doing. Can I rewrite that? It's important because that's not how we write it. So how should I rewrite that? The way the top is. Thank you. Negative 3t plus 6 over t. What will I do next step? Pull out the negative 3. So t minus 2 over t. Now can I deal with the number line? What do I start with? End with? There you go. I mean, 0 is a cutoff, but isn't that time? We don't have a left guy. Did everybody understand? So I'm demonstrating that is the relative max. Okay, so let's write a conclusion. Therefore, the particle is farthest to the right. Feel free to make notes to yourself. Again, absolute max is basically relative max, or the other way around, if endpoints are unknown. Endpoints are unknown. So in terms of reasoning. And do not forget to use the number line. The number line must be labeled. You don't have an option. I talk about it every day in class. Okay? Alright, and then let's continue. It says, find the x coordinate of the position at that time. So what am I finding? X of 2, which is nothing but x of plus integral 3 to 2 x dash. Is that a calculator problem? Dumbass easy. Okay. Now part D, we ran out of time in the other class. We did not get to do D, but we'll do it in this class. Yeah. Have a look at D, please. Mr. Arnold answered this correctly. What is the question asking in simple language? It says, describe the behavior of the path of the particle as t increases without bound. In simple language, what do they mean? Thank you. This approaches infinity. So, do we have dx and dy? We can see what's going on with those. So, I'm going to take limit. T approaches infinity. I don't have x. I can see what's going on with that function of dx over dt. If I take the limit, what do I get? Negative 3 to the power of 1/3. Everybody okay there? And then, if I take the limit, t approaches infinity dy over dt. Do that yourselves. Okay. Take the infinite limit. So, what's e to the power of negative infinity? Sorry, what's e to the power of negative infinity? And what's 0 times infinity? 0. Okay. For those of you who don't, look at me. For those of you who say, Rama, prove it. Like, why is it? It's a really small number times an infinitely large number. Why should it be a small number and not actually a big number? Do you see the argument? Like, I understand, okay, roughly 0, but prove it to me. Let me show you the proof. Yes? Observe what I did. Is that rising faster than that guy? So you don't accept what I just said. No. So that 0 is much smaller than that infinity. Is that clear? That's the argument. Okay, so it is 0. Alright? So let's describe what's going on. So what's happening here? So what does it mean in simple language if dy over dt is equal to 0? What does that mean in simple language? It's only moving in the... Thank you. In the horizontal direction. Do you understand that? Let's write it out so you understand what it means. That's like the change in y over change in time. So the change in y is 0. It's not even moving in the y direction. Is that clear? But the change in x exists, correct? So write down as t approaches infinity, the particle is only, I hope you understand why I'm doing what I'm doing, moving in the x direction or moving horizontally and then approaching -3 to about 1/3. Correct? That's like the horizontal asymptote. Repeat. The particles are moving only horizontally. That's dx over dt exists, but dy does not exist. It's not going vertically at all. Alright? Last problem of the day. By the way, when does the bell exactly ring? 12:02? Okay, fine. This is a gimme problem. It'll take us really maybe less than 5 minutes to do. But let's process information the way I have taught you. Don't do your own thing. By the way, have we got most of our points so far?
Yeah.
Now I want you to be comfortable. Like the AP exam is not challenging. I've done a good job teaching you guys. Yes.
For the explanation, you said it's approaching negative.
As in like T approaching infinity, that's approaching.
Okay.
Yeah. You could say
The
is equal to.
velocity is-
That's fine.
Or because it's like the velocity, not the actual like point. It's
No,
not
no,
the
no.
position.
No. True. But I'm saying, in other words, the change in x over change in time is -3. So in other words, as time changes, x is approaching -3. Yeah? Think about it. It's the change in x over change in time. As t approaches infinity, you're just approaching.
Okay.
Correct? Think about it. Delta x over delta time. The change in time is still approaching that. I understand exactly what you said. Okay, let's read it together, please. Read it with me so you can process information as you read it. The rate at which raw sewage enters. So what are they giving you? The entering function, E of t. Guys, we've done 100 problems like this. 850 plus 715 cos pi t square over 9 measured in gallons per hour. Units you need to keep track of. Okay. In the interval 0 to 4. Treated sewage is removed at the constant rate of 645 gallons per hour. So what are they giving you there? The leaving function? 645. Okay. Also measured in gallons per hour. I'm showing you how I process information. When I have to type up the rubric, like, hey, alternative approach, this is acceptable. Read the third sentence. The treatment tank is empty. So what am I writing? A of 0 equals 0 gallons, units. What else should I write to get points? Define A of T. Very good, Mr. Romero. Which is the, read the first line, is the amount of sewage in the tank.
Should you also define LT?
Oh, very smart. He says should we define L of T as well? But that's kind of obvious. If they say 645, as in you're defining L of T, that's acceptable. But A is a completely new letter. Like, where does that come from? You're not wrong. Don't get me wrong. But we're saying that equals 645. It's kind of apparent from the context. Well, this is a brand new function. Where is this coming from? In the tank at time t. That's not a bad idea at all, Mr. Lakshman. And then what else do we do? A dash of t, if you want to say R of t equals E of t minus L of t. Everybody okay there? This is always a setup for any. I'm letting you know next week, as we get closer to the semester final, next week when we do FRQ review, I'm letting you know, look at me. AB, and we've been joking about it, AB got 2010. You got a hard test too, but AB got a brutal test. They asked two rate and radar, the same test had two rate and radar problems. You may say, well, that's easy. No. One was a function, one was a graph, and it was a weird problem. And the other one was a function, and the other guy was a piecewise function. And AB kids being AB kids are like, whoa, what just happened? The typical score is like a -50, -20, -25. That was a typical score. Because the concept. But my thing was, guys, set it up, the answer will show up. There's no complexity if you set it up this way. Okay. Part A. Can you just set up part A very quickly yourselves? Read the sixth word. How many gallons of sewage enter the treatment tank? It's a gimme. So what am I writing? Integral 0 to 4 E of t dt. Gimme. Again, I've taught you well. Okay, part B. For the interval 0 to 4, at what time is the amount of sewage in the treatment plant? No problem with this. So we're really asking for the absolute max. I write good notes. Absolute max of the A of t function. So we should consider endpoints and critical points. Endpoints will be 0 and 4. Which is the only critical point I should focus on?
Oh, wait.
the relative max, okay, basically the relative max t value, okay, what we always do. Will you change from positive to negative in a graph? Is that clear? And then finally, will you evaluate a of 0, a of 4, if you call this guy monkey, and then a of monkey. Do not forget to write a conclusion, please. Do not forget to answer the question. The conclusion always carries a point. Okay, last question of the day. I promise you will be done. Okay. Read, see carefully. Most kids in the class figured it out. Read, see carefully. It says from 0 to 4. Where is it held? In the gym? What?
No. It's being held at Richard Nixon Library.
Where is that? In Orange County?
Yorba Linda.
Yorba Linda?
Yorba Linda.
Okay, that's on the way to LA, right? Okay. So are they like buses, or you make your own arrangements?
Any transportation. Yeah.
No, but does the school provide buses at all? No, you provide your own transportation. So is this the one where a bunch of kids pool in and get a limo or something?
People get limos, party buses, yeah.
Party bus, is that what it is? Alright, guys, read C with me. Read C with me. It says, from 0 to 4, the cost of treating the raw sewage that enters the tank at any time is given by that function in dollars per gallon. To the nearest dollar, what is the total cost of treating all the sewage that enters the tank? So if I give you cost, and we know the entering function, what should I do to get the total cost? Should I multiply? But what operation should I do? Should I just multiply, or should I'm doing something else with it? Integral, right? Yeah, we're doing integral. It changes from 0 to 4. So 0 to 4, and then is that 0.15 minus 0.02, is it? T, and then times E of t. dt. It keeps changing. The cost changes the entering function. Do that, and the answer, the total will be equal. Wait up. Thank you. Thank you for coming. We are guys, I made this emphatically clear on Google Classroom. I'm repeating since you are here. Monday is the absolute deadline for turning in anything you're missing. Okay, come hell or high water, grades are not changing after Monday. Z1. Yeah, feel free to let your peers know. Let your peers know Rama doesn't, means business. If there's anything to be graded, anything to be turned in, Monday is the deadline.
So I just turn all the work.
Yes.
I have
those yielder methods. I used to get the followers from on
Really? Why?
Your words hurt, Tiffany.
Your
words hit when they hurt.
Yeah.
I don't think I was here.
Oh, really?
Does it get all the commentary?
So you always get
Yes, like
Silly boy. Why